Hello everyone, my name is Harstem and today we're gonna have a game that's a little bit different than your average game. At least I'm expecting it to be a little bit different than your average game. I found it in a big replay pack. It is a 33-minute game and I saw the name Bly on Fire and I got excited, okay? I was looking forward to it, and then I saw the name FightingFrog and I became ecstatic. Because FightingFrog is a player that is... I'm not quite sure how to describe it. He is brilliant, but also he likes to play things that I'm not sure if they are completely viable. So he's an absolute genius. I speak a lot with him, I play a lot with him, and he's very good at optimizing build orders. He's very good at thinking about little concepts that could be used at high level play. Very often he'll have like something and be like, hey Kev, what do you think of this? And then like we work it out and see if it has any potential, and sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. And then like I'll play it a bunch of times, and sometimes it works, and you know, sometimes it just doesn't. But when he plays himself, he tends to kind of take things to the extreme. He plays some very, very odd things, but highly optimized, very often at least. So there will be fast third gases, there will be... We should just have a look to see what he's gonna do, and you'll see, of course, this game is gonna just play standard Stargate, but usually, whenever I see him play, he has like some weird Colossi drop shenanigans, and then, I mean, playing against Bly, this is going to be the ultimate game, so... I'm just really looking forward to this, okay? I just want to see what's gonna happen. I just want to see what's gonna happen. See, these works are being rallied in one by one into this second gas. We see no Zealot or anything being built, which in a normal game, you know, shouldn't be too surprising, but we are watching Mr. FightingFrog, so you never know. Maybe he likes a cheeky Zealot. We're gonna just open up with an Adept into... No worries, he's just gonna open Stargate. This guy is absolutely unbelievable. I'm like, alright, let's do this, FightingFrog. Let's cast one of your games. Let's see what you have, and this is what we get. I can live with it. So we saw Bly actually spike up to, I think it was 2100 APM. Now, people wondering how that is possible. Why are Zerg players so much faster than Protoss players? Are Protoss players just dumber or slower? And I was like, well, probably, but also a lot of Zerg players, they use a thing called rapid fire. Or, is it called rapid fire? Yeah, rapid fire. They put it on a key. No, sorry, they increase the repeat rate on their key, not rapid fire. So they have the repeat rate of their keyboard on like times, I think it's like 32 or something like that, or times 16. So that means when you press a button, it gets pressed 16 times as fast as usually if you just hold it down. So if they build like a single Zergling and they hold down the Z button for that, it basically registers at like, I don't know, like 400 clicks in a second, or 400 clicks in like half a second, which is extremely high, and then you'll see these big APM spikes. So very often during production cycles, you see the APM of the Zerg player spike. That doesn't necessarily mean that this guy is really fast. This is also why the average APM of Zerg players tends to be very high. You see here? It's just at around 500, which makes absolutely no sense, because literally nothing has happened yet this game. And usually Bly is actually floating at very low APM. He's quite a slow player. Unless, of course, he's in production cycle. So you see whenever he's building drones, it peaks up, and when he's not building drones, it just kind of, or building stuff, it just goes down to pretty low. They also use this for creep tumors and things like that. So, and I think they also use that in combination with rapid fire with creep tumors usually. So it's really doubling it up. It's going to be going into a very fast robotics facility here. So we're seeing Void Ray, Robo, Void Ray. I see this weirdly timed third gas before the third base. This is the type of stuff I'm talking about. It's gonna go into a second Stargate as well. Just playing double Stargate into Robo. This Robo timing was at 410. That's pretty fast. Are we looking at a Ravager Queen all in here? Not really, right? I'd be surprised if this is a round of roaches now. Okay, well, I'm surprised. The reason I'm surprised is because I saw that Bly is kind of moving into a supply block. It seems to be going just fine. He also... How many queens does he have? He's like 5. I guess he could just walk all 5 across the map. Void Rays are trying to test the water, see, hey, what's going on here. Robo goes down. I think it's a little bit delayed, though. Could have definitely been faster. Here come the batteries. Here come the cannons. And now the question is, how is FightingFrog going to defend? There's a couple of options. He can try to defend this third base with cannons and batteries, but this is a 45 worker move out. This hits kind of quick. What he could do instead is you could say, hey, I'm just going to defend my natural, fly around with my Void Rays, and try to go for like a semi-base trading thing, where I have 3 Void Rays on your side of the map, I have 3-4 cannons and 2-3 batteries in my natural. You can't break me because I'm going to start building disruptors. I think that probably would have been better here, because right now we see he's not actually going to be capable of holding this third base. He's going to need to give it up. Going to see a couple of cancels on these batteries, and maybe he's trying to win as much time as possible, but this definitely isn't going to be it. There's a single cannon here, there's 2 batteries, and at this point Bly could say, hey, I'm killing your third base. I don't really care about much else here, honestly, and I kind of feel Bly in that position. I'm like, okay, Bly, that makes a lot of sense. Like, why would you actually care about killing the natural? You don't need to. You're probably not going to be able to do it. You can just probably drone up, and I think he should have already been droning up. All of these extra units he's building right now are just units that could have been drones. He needs queen production, just because the Void Ray count is increasing, but why is he trying to break this? He is already ahead. He can just take this dub. He can say, okay, I'm gonna be up 35 workers by the time your third base finishes. But instead, Bly, he wants to keep going, and he's actually pushing in. This might be possible that he just straight up wins here. Oh my good lord. Well, this is the reason why I much would have preferred drones. The extra links that he built, I think somewhere around the numbers of 30, 35 extra links, could have been 16, 17 extra drones, and it wouldn't have changed the position of FightingFrog, but it massively changes the position of Bly on fire in this game. Bly currently is only on 49 workers. That could have been 67, that could have been 70. I think he could have been on 6 gas at this point. He could have been pumping Hydras here already with 6, 7 queens out. Like, these are things that were all very viable. On top of that, he lost all of his queens. The creep was pretty close. He probably could have just walked back. He still had 3-4 transfuses ready. These Void Rays without batteries aren't actually that great. So I think Bly actually gave up a big advantage here. He had the potential to just win with the next push, or at least be light years ahead. But instead he got greedy and wanted to finish the game. And as a result, he's not going to be able to finish the game at all. And now he's actually behind. As Frog, Mr. FightingFrog, is up 20 supply. We see he is down 10 workers still, and sure, his army is mainly in Void Rays, which aren't great against this many queens, but there's no fort base yet for Bly. He's building it now, but it's not there yet. Like, does this actually look that good? Does this actually look that good for Bly? I don't know if it does. I really don't know if it does. +1 is on the way, as well as a fleet beacon. In this type of situation, I often think, is a fort base, as a Protoss player here, is that a mistake? Like a fast fort? Because defensively, your capabilities aren't going to change much because of it, right? Disruptor, Void Ray is your main defense. It's not like you're going to be able to build a lot. It's not like you need gateways. Like, you're not cutting production to get a faster fort base, and you are going to increase economy. Also, you're planning on playing a very passive game. You don't want to hit any timings. Oh, he's getting a Colossi. I don't really like that. I don't really like that at all. Now, there's a simple reason for this. Why don't I like this Colossi? He's building Hydras, right? It's because the Disruptor serves a very similar purpose to the Colossi here. Where the Colossi kills Hydras and Lynx pretty rapidly, so does the Disruptor. And both of those get countered, yep, by exactly the same unit, you guessed it right, by the Viper. So it would make more sense for FightingFrog to start anticipating, hey, there's going to be a Viper here, maybe a Templar Archives, or just tagging into a Twilight Council is something I could use. See, Disruptors do absolutely fine. FightingFrog in a fantastic position right now after that hit, by the way. See 2 Infestors coming out as well. Not quite sure what these guys are going for, but this feels pretty... Don't like that Disruptor folk. I think FightingFrog could be thinking of moving out potentially. He's not doing that right now though. We have +1 about to finish up. A 3rd Stargate, now that his 3rd base is back up. Could be seeing a... I really think a 4th base here would be nice. Observer moves back a little bit. Saw these queens move in. These Hydras, what kind of upgrades? Okay, they do have muscular augments. They are getting their range. They look so slow off creep actually, it's ridiculous. Let's Going for Ravager, Hydra, Infestor. Perhaps some Microbial Shroud action. It's something we don't see a lot, but perhaps has... Well, Microbial Shroud kind of sucks against Disruptors though, doesn't it? The Microbial Shroud, for people that don't know, lowers the incoming damage by... What is it? Is it 50%? I think 50% in a certain area. It is an area of effect spell that you cast on your own units, and it lowers the incoming damage from air units by 50%. Now... that's great, but it also kind of is a massive arrow showing the disruptors where to shoot their shot, because your units are going to want to be standing into that zone. I think that's actually why I got these infestors, for some survivability with that. Could also, of course, be throwing fungal at this point. I wouldn't even mind that either. We see he's eyeing some fungals here. He's eyeing some fungals. Look at the button. He is aware that there is infestors here, but just being aware sometimes doesn't mean that you're not gonna get fungal by them. Ultra Cavern, 1-1. What are the upgrades? Bly has no upgrades. Actually gets a big fungal off. Almost gonna Ravager Bile a carrier to death. Not quite the case. A lot of money here for both players, by the way, but Fighting for, yeah, this is the reason why Frog also needs a fort base, is because right now he's saving a lot of minerals, he just needs extra gas. When you're playing a composition like this, the limiting factor always is going to be gas. You don't even necessarily need to go up to like 89 workers, no. What you need is you just need 8 gases, and that can be fine off of 71, 72 workers. Then eventually you want to get like 10 gas maybe, and that's also fine of like 75 workers, because at that point your main is kind of running out. Doesn't have an observer here, at least I don't see it. He has one observer here, one of the other observer is moving towards this area. Missed fungal, well, what type of fungal you want. Your name is Bly. There's gonna be some nice pools here coming out of this. Oh my god, never mind. Good feedback coming out of Frog here, who seems to... he really should be thinking about taking a fort. I'm so upset by this. He was in such a good position and then just kind of threw it by not doing anything. Meanwhile, we have Bly with 74 workers. There's 2 ultras. He's the weirdest army. How is this a late game army? This is like box art. It's like 1 unit each, you know? It's like 1... Oh yeah, 12. Add the 12 corruptors as well. And none of the units have real good upgrades. He's getting... melee upgrades now. There's not a single range upgrade here. He has 24 Hydras. He's getting carapace upgrades for air. Like, I'm just so confused as to what's happening in this game. I just don't understand. Bly's eco also is surprisingly bad. So you look at this and you see, oh, it's like 6 bases, you know, there's a 6th base, there's like a 7th base. It's like 5 bases here, and we see that he has 10 gas. But in reality he's only on 73 workers, so his actual mineral income isn't that high. This means that if Bly loses units, remaxing isn't easy. And he needs to remax at some point because his current army is hot garbage. Or cold garbage, it's just garbage altogether. I'm not even sure if it's hot. Here goes a carrier. Boom, says the carrier as it disappears. I'm very surprised by how passive Fighting Frog is playing here. I do not quite understand this. +3 is starting up though. This Cybercore is taking a lot of damage. You'd probably try to start healing this with a battery. The problem often as a Protoss is that you're not... Oh my good lord, what a fight. A very good start of the fight, but he also loses a lot to these biles. Do we still have some corruptors left? Yeah, we do have some corruptors left. Plus storms once again landing. Loses the cybernetics core with a +3 upgrade. This is the ultimate 3-base toss army here, but rebuilding that's going to be hard. You see Bly also struggling rebuilding an army that makes sense. He's getting 5 ultras, 7 corruptors added in. What have we lost so far? 5 void rays, a colossi, a carrier, 2 disruptors. Cost efficiency wise, Fighting Frog is doing fine, but because his eco has been such crap, and more importantly, Bly is doing something here that is considered kind of abnormal on these maps. It's like if you think of Beckett and Oxide, he's taking one of the bases of his opponent. So right now we're in a 7 versus 5 base situation. This base is never going to be taken by Bly. So the more Bly manages to mine from her, I love that he's taking this gas. I love that so much. He even should probably be sending more drones over here. Because these inside bases, you're for sure gonna get them, Bly. But these outside bases, you don't know how long you have until they're gone. He could even take this base. Technically, why not? Take drones from here, just mine all these bases close by. You're setting yourself up for such a massive win. Like, the main problem for Zerg against Protoss isn't necessarily trading, but it is trading efficiently. If Zerg is up a base, they don't need to trade efficiently anymore. They can be trading extremely inefficiently. Just a single base over your opponent is such a huge deal. Even just mining half of the resources. Because if you mine half the resources, it means your opponent is double behind. Because you are getting the plus and he is getting a minus. So if you mine 5,000 resources from your opponent, that's a 10k resources loss difference that all of a sudden you overcame. Every mineral matters so much when you're taking them out of your opponent's potential bank. It's such a big deal. This is something people sometimes don't quite understand. I love this, by the way. I know it's not going to work, but just keeping up the pressure. Even though this doesn't do anything, every second he's mining from this base is huge. I don't understand why he's not mining with more. There should be freaking 20 workers here. 20, yeah, there we go. He's sending at least units into these extractors, but even this should just be mining with 16, 17 workers. Keep on the pressure, trade poorly, I don't give a crap. For all I care... Ooh. Bly is doing something very funky here, by the way. In which he has 68 workers, which is very, very low. And I think he's gonna go even lower, probably. Wait, he somehow lost this. Oh, he accidentally pulled it out with the Vipers. A bit of a Lingworm enemy. That means his army is really big. He's gonna go in. He's gonna go for a tiny trade. It's gonna get 1 or 2 carriers. I'm not sure if this trade was brilliant. It's the type of trade where I think it's not necessary. Because right now, all that Bly really wants to do is counterattack. The moment FightingFrog moves out of one of his bases, Bly should counterattack. He has so many bases that he can do that. And FightingFrog doesn't have the bank to just rebuild cannons everywhere and to get good static defense everywhere. And I mean, as long as Bly is just mining, I'm so surprised. He keeps mining. Okay, here we go. 14 workers here, finally. Still could have been more, I feel like. He has very little workers, though. Just send a couple from here. Like, this is so much more important. I'm surprised he doesn't understand the importance of this. Like, how big this is. Like, every freaking mineral, every little bit of gas you take is huge. It's huge. I love that these changelings are just continuously running in as well. You see that? There's a crap ton of overseers. Probably like 6 or 7. Okay, 4 overseers. Just sending in changelings, and look at that vision. FightingFrog feels locked in, and honestly, kind of is locked in. Not only by creep, but also just by an army here. And you can say, well, this army doesn't look that oh, there we go. That's 1. And that's a 2. 2 units that are going down, and a couple of banelings once again try to run in. The main thing isn't necessarily that in a straight up engagement Bly is going to win. But the problem is that the moment that Frog moves out, he is on creep. He's fighting on creep, he's gonna get traded against, and he doesn't know what the bank of Bly is. Funnily enough, because Bly has such a big army and actually so little drones, Bly's bank is kind of small. He has a crap ton of gas because he's how many gases is he mining? So it's 1, 2, 3. He's mining 10 gas still of 70 workers. That's 30 workers on gas, 40 workers on minerals. That is kind of crazy, guys. That actually is kind of crazy. Once again, banelings running in. That's just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful damage. A couple of banelings heading into the 3rd base as well. What is FightingFrog doing here? Okay, there is this concept. There is this concept, which the first time I truly saw it was, I think, by Tefel in ZVZ. What he would do is whenever he would lose units, he would just not, or lose probes, he'd not rebuild the probes and just build units instead. And if the opponent doesn't realize, eventually you can take a fight where it's like, you have like 180 or 190 army supply and the other guy has 110. So even though you have no eco and your opponent can remax, because you win that fight so convincingly, it's still fine. Look at the army supply right now. 154 against 114. I think Bly's in a little bit of trouble. Big disruptor hit's gonna hit a lot of these links. Oh, there's a couple of... Oh my god, I can't quite see what's happening here, but I think a lot of the storms did hit. There's still a lot of carriers remaining. The Viper gets taken out. He's going for the local maneuver, and the local maneuver is when you parasitic bomb one of the carriers, you fly in with the Corruptors, and because the interceptors are close to a parasitic bomb carrier, what actually ends up happening is that all the interceptors die. We see no money in the bank whatsoever here for FightingFrog, and no money in the bank whatsoever here for Bly. 4 interceptors at a time are being rebuilt. And the reason is not because he has less than 4 carriers that need interceptors, or only has 4 carriers that need interceptors. No, the reason for that is because he doesn't have freaking money to rebuild interceptors. There we go, now finally get some cash. 5 interceptors at a time. Let's see if we can take down a couple of these Corruptors. Corruptors have awful upgrades, by the way. Plus 3 armor, sure, but no attack upgrade. That gets taken out. Spire gets taken out. Here come 4 extra Infestor as well. Vipers are being built. That cost him, what was that, 3-4 Corruptors right away. And there is some mining going on the side of FightingFrog. There's also some mining going on the side of Bly though. This is going to be one of those very weird games in which I'm not quite sure who is winning this, but Infestors are such a great value call here. Because they bring so much value to an army for very little cost. Is there Burrow yet? Is there Burrow is the question. There's no Burrow. Is there Neural Parasite? There's no Neural Parasite. Wait, what is he going to use it for then? Fungal? It's going to be fungling Infestors. Now there is Vipers out, and if there's no Templar with an army, Vipers are very powerful simply because they can pull these bad boys in. Look, pop! Can we get a pop? Hello? Sir? Good target fire with the carriers. It's going to take out 2 of the Vipers. Gets the 3rd Viper, loses a carrier for it, but that's a plus EV trade, that's for sure. Ultralisk Cavern, 2 Spires, Bly, you don't have the money for this. I also hate that he's still mining. Well, he's not actually not mining that much gas anymore. So it's kind of okay. I don't hate it. I love it. So one base remaining right here for Bly, okay? You have this base remaining for FightingFrog. Both of them on 1 base economy. The army value right now that FightingFrog has is just so massive though. Where did this recall to? Okay, to the natural. Actually, Bly's more army value in gas. Look at that. It's because of these Infestors, huh? Infestor. I'm not sure why he's getting 11 Infestors if he doesn't have Neural Parasite though. What is the point? What? Like my friend, if you had Neural Parasite here, these carriers would be toast. No? You grab 4 carriers, throw some parasitic bombs on the Void Rays, you laugh at your opponent, you call him an idiot, then complain on the Battle.net forums about balance, but I don't think that's going to be possible here for Bly, because so he's just going to focus on fungling and I guess fungal parasitic bomb type of combos. Can perhaps see some fight happening from the back. Look how careful FightingFrog is in moving forward here, by the way. Just moving observer at a time. Wants to see, hey, what's going on here, buddy? I want to know what you're doing. Needs to be very, very careful. Sees the Vipers, sees the Vipers, sees the Vipers. Oh, a couple of very, very good fungals here on all of these interceptors. Interceptors falling low. A lot of them just falling down right there. You see that? Interceptor count down to 18. It's going to need to rebuild a lot of interceptors. Was this worth it? I don't know. I didn't check the units lost. And we have Bly coming up with a base here at top. Bly has no more gas income, and that's completely fine because he has plenty of gas. Sometimes when you have plenty of gas at some point, though, later on it becomes very scarce. Okay, scarce, whatever. Neural Parasite is on the way. 10 seconds away from finishing up. More like 15, but people that can count just the elite. That's what the mainstream media wants you to believe, that it's useful to count. But I will tell you the truth here. It's not really that useful and you can live fine without it. A couple of drones are coming out here, back up to 25. I like that FightingFrog realizes this though. Oh, good pull. Oh my god, that's a second unit that goes down there for free. Yep, that was free damage right there out of these Vipers. Absolutely beautiful. Carrier going down, Void Ray going down. And that is fat stacks right there for Bly, who I think still is behind in overall army. But if we think of his position, is it really that bad? He has a crap ton of spores here. This doesn't seem to be capable of being broken. So is Bly really ahead? No, I don't think Bly is ahead. I think the way that Frog is thinking though, I think Bly might be at. Because Frog needs to think about expanding towards this base. While making sure that these bases don't work. Because you can't let your opponent outmine you. If you take this base and you start mining with 2 bases, your opponent will need to spread the spores thin. And then all of a sudden your massive army, yeah, that's gonna come in handy for sure. If you're just in one location, attacking into 10 spores, yeah, that's not going to be it. I can guarantee you that as well. Like, it is very obvious to me that there is a vital importance as well in clearing this creep. And there's actually not that much interesting going on in this base where I'm like, hey, you need to defend this with 12 carriers. No, actually, if you defend this with a single Templar, you're probably just going to be absolutely fine. Oh my god, 3 carriers are going to get pulled. None of them get killed though. A bit of more than he could chew. It's a rookie move. Always 1 by 1. There goes another one. Yep. Ooh, not the greatest pull. He's gonna end up getting it though. And here we see FightingFrog is moving in. 133 supply against 110. A single fungal isn't quite hitting. Good feedbacks coming out of FightingFrog. Another fungal hits everything. Everything is so clumped up right now. Parasitic Bomb would be very helpful. Instead we see Bly just giving up this base. No, another fungal. Bly gave up the base. I guess he had no Parasitic Bomb and that was the reason why. But oi 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 oi. I think there was something there on top of the spores. With so many neural parasites and with 3 ultras, he could have pushed back the Templar and grabbed 1 or 2 of these carriers. I think he would have been in an okay spot. The lack of Parasitic Bomb though making it very, very tricky. We have 3 Vipers out right now. There's gonna be another pool. Here goes. Oh my god. Takes down a carrier, loses every single one of his infestors though. Once again, FightingFrog looking to be in a dominant position right here. Another Ultra is gonna take a lot of damage. There's no Queens to heal. There's 9 more infestors on the way. Is there any pools left? Yes, a single pool left in one of these. And that's another carrier that bites at us. Right now we're 2 carriers, 15 Void Rays, and 4 Templar. Now the problem is that there's 6 Vipers, which means that Parasitic Bomb is going to be very powerful. Parasitic Bomb in general is very powerful against these Void Rays. And Bly is just expanding again and again. These workers didn't get killed. FightingFrog, you're throwing this game out of the window. I think it's possible to win still, but he needs to get better fights. He needs to confront his opponent. Oh, yep, there we go. Couple of pools, 1 pool, 2 pools, yep. And that's all free damage. Sure, this base is gonna end up going down. And sure, these drones are going to fall this time around. And yep, FightingFrog is mining more. And yes, he still has a nice looking army, but I'm very afraid that the longer this game goes, the better it's gonna get for Bly. You see, FightingFrog though is very target oriented. He's just looking for targets to kill. And I like that. He's looking at this and he says, hey, is there anything that I can do right here? Is there any base that I can take out? And the answer here is going to be a big fat yes. There is a base that he can take out. So he's gonna take it out. 1200 minerals in the bank right now. Funnily enough, this is weird to say, but if FightingFrog would just transition into Charge Lord Archon Immortal at this point, I don't think he could lose. Because there's no Broodlords. Broodlords are the counter to a ground army. There's not even a Spire right now. Am I right on that? I think I am. No Spire right now. He could just transition completely. He has 1600 minerals. He doesn't know what to do with the money. He's thinking. And he's gonna want to take this base. I love that. Get an Oracle as well. Finally figure out. Uh-oh. Needs to be very, very careful. Slightly too late. It's so frustrating when that happens. He's gonna lose another carrier. 3 Void Rays on the way, but I'd love to see Charge being researched. +1 started and start Immortal pumping from one of these robos. Yeah, once again, Bly is looking for damage here. Gets a good fungal. Is gonna get a good Parasitic Bomb as well. No, Frog, this is not how you want to engage. This is not how you want to engage. Another Parasitic. He's losing everything. He's just losing everything. Oh my good lord. Yeah, I don't think he can win this fight anymore. Seeing a couple of storms coming down right now on top of all of these corruptors. 12 workers immediately on the way here for Bly. And Bly now has this base going up as well. Bly is looking to get back in the production game. 1 more Void Ray on the way here for FightingFrog. But it is not looking like a very good game from here on out for our Protoss player. Hell, it's even looking pretty freaking bad. If this base going down, I still think that at this point, if he transitions into ground, it's not even that bad. Your opponent has so much supply in air. What is there on the ground from your opponent? Sure, the upgrades on the ground of your opponent are very good. I understand that, but if you get 4 Immortals, 2 Archons and 10 Zealots, this just dies. It's over. It's a dead army, okay? It's just gone. It's completely over. Oh, that's way too many cannons here, my friend. We don't need that many cannons. I do like the wall, though. I do enjoy that. I think Bly doesn't quite realize how far ahead he is, where he could just fly in at this point and probably kill 1-2 Corruptors, fly out again with minimal losses. Gonna see Ultras moving forward right now. Another Templar being warped in. Ultras are taking some damage, but I just don't think this is going to be quite enough. Parasitic Bombs doing a lot of damage here. Another Void Ray goes down. A little bit of a move command there out of FightingFrog as well. And I think, sadly, for our Protoss player, this is going to be it. He doesn't have the money. He starts his Immortals now realizing, uh-oh, I could have done that a while ago. Super Battery is being used and he's trying to micro his heart out with this Archon, but I am just not seeing it happen. These are all slow Zealots. Three Immortals on the ground is what was left. 3 Immortals. Not enough money really to produce anything that can beat a ground army at this point. Can't really build Banelings. Could have maybe built Roaches, that would have been the only thing. But yeah, there's no upgrades for that. So yeah, it just... unbelievable. Unbelievably sad here. As a Protoss fan, 25 supply. There is just not enough. And I think Bly is just gonna pounce on this. We have 6 links on the way. We have a Baneling on the way as well. There's still enough Ultras here. 64 army supply against 12. These Corruptors are practically useless. But so is the entire army of FightingFrog, who is now pushing out on the map, realizing that, hey, I don't even have enough money for a Nexus anymore. I need to do something. That's what he's gonna do. But sadly for him, 16 links are in production. 2 more Ultras are in production. And yeah, with the 3 Ultras that are out, that's just going to be enough. Even without the 3 Ultras, that is just going to be enough. 7 links going down on the other side of the map. We have 20 links on total on the map. Even if something like an Infestor could be of great help. But yeah, the income is just a little bit too good. Here comes the Ultra. Here come the links. And they will be taking out all of these Zealots. They'll be taking out this ground army. And that, for sure, is going to be it. As FightingFrog, GG's, well played. He ends this game. And I'm going to end this video as well. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Much appreciated, guys. Don't forget to hit the like button as well. And hopefully see you all next time for a new video. Bye-bye.